think it's safe to say that most cat caretakers in general, but definitely those who have a cat with chronic kidney disease, are looking to increase their quality of life, increase their lifespan, and just make things better for their cats. If there is a complication to CKD, chronic kidney disease, that decreases their quality of life, decreases their lifespan, and just makes them not feel great, as well as potentially making the CKD progress faster, it's a complication we should know about, right? If you're new here, welcome. I'm Dr. Emily, and this channel is dedicated to helping you take the best care of your senior kitty. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss a thing, and like and share the videos so I can create more content like it. If you're not aware of it, anemia is a complication of chronic kidney disease. Cats that are anemic, we can definitely find it on blood work, but they tend to act tired, they're sleeping all the time, they're hiding, they might be just avoiding social interaction. They're very vague clinical signs, but they're important clinical signs. As a cat caretaker, you want to spend time with your cat. You want them to feel good. You want that quality of life to be up there. So we'll talk about treatments to anemia later in this video, but let's start with anemia itself. Anemia caused by chronic kidney disease is a type of anemia called a non-regenerative anemia. Basically, the body doesn't see that there's a problem. The body is not trying to fix the problem, hence the non-regenerative part. And anemia means we don't have enough red blood cells, or the body doesn't have enough red blood cells. In chronic kidney disease, the primary problem that causes this side effect is the fact that there are very specialized cells in the kidneys that produce a hormone called erythropoietin, which creates a stimulus to the bone marrow in the body to say, hey, we need more red blood cells. So when everything's working, this process goes off without a hitch. There's no complications to it, typically. With chronic kidney disease, we're losing those cells. Those cells don't remain in production enough to produce the erythropoietin, to produce the red blood cells to fix the anemia that's happening. So of course it's this vicious cycle that goes round and round. But in true cat form, that may not be the only cause of anemia. So just because we know our cat has chronic kidney disease, that doesn't mean that's the only problem going on. If you've heard me talk before, you may have heard me say that cats, I fully believe, are out to just rack up as many diseases as they can to complicate matters for us. So needless to say, cats with chronic kidney disease may have more issues going on that could be causing or contributing to anemia. So whole body states of inflammation can do this. Where iron gets sequestered, iron is needed for red blood cell production, and that can cause anemia. Nutritional deficiencies can cause anemia. Some medications have side effects of anemia. Oftentimes, cats with severe kidney disease can have mucosal bleeding, so basically bleeding from the gums due to ulcers or bleeding throughout the intestinal tract. That can lead to anemia. And then a uremic state with severely elevated BUN and that sort of thing makes cells a little bit more fragile as well, so that can contribute to anemia. So suffice it to say, we have this big major red flag in erythropoietin production, but there are other things that can contribute to anemia as well. Because it's kind of a complex topic, and traditionally speaking, we haven't had great treatment options, it's usually a scenario where we elect to ignore, for lack of a better term, anemia in chronic kidney disease cats until we can't. So whether or not they are showing quality of life issues associated with their anemia, or we find it on blood work, there's not a universally agreed upon time, so to speak, as to when to start treatment, although generally most veterinarians are looking at a PCV or hematocrit that's less than 20% when we're talking about treating anemia. What do we have for treatment options? Well, it makes sense. If the body isn't making enough erythropoietin to make these red blood cells, then let's replace the erythropoietin. It's what they've done in humans, and that is absolutely what we did with cats. There is a synthetic human version of erythropoietin that was given to cats in an injection form. So it would stimulate their body to produce the red blood cells, thereby either resolving or improving the anemia. Now, the problem when we are injecting a human product into a cat body is we always risk the immune system going haywire. There is definitely a percentage of cats that when their body sees this human product, it starts to make antibodies against it. The problem with those antibodies are they aren't 100% specific. Even though those antibodies may have developed to the human injection of that erythropoietin, those antibodies have the potential to destroy all of the red blood cells in the body. So now we've created a new problem. We've created a disease called pure red cell aplasia, basically meaning there are no red blood cells in the body, and that means these cats are 100% dependent on blood transfusions to survive. As you can imagine, blood transfusions aren't inexpensive. They're not necessarily fun for the cat, and that can quickly become a situation where euthanasia is the option. After we figured out that erythropoietin in the human analog version is a problem in cats, other options were looked into, and the boat, so to speak, of treatment turned to something called darbepoetin. Darbepoetin, similarly, it stimulates the red blood cell production. It's an injection. Theoretically, it has the potential for that antibody production to happen, but we just don't typically see it in cats. So it's been a good option for treating kidney-related anemia in cats. It does involve injections. It does involve iron injection supplementation as well because the body needs the iron. We don't necessarily test cats for their iron levels before doing this stuff. Unfortunately, a lot of this is what's called off-label, and it's based on experience, and it makes scientific sense, so we just do it. So oftentimes we're giving these darbo injections and iron injections. Many cats do really well with this. They respond, their red blood cell numbers go up, they're feeling better, their prognosis goes up, their lifespan is longer. Many of them do really, really well on this. If there is a common side effect to be noted, it's high blood pressure. So it's very important as we're treating these cats for anemia that we're also monitoring their blood pressure, because obviously we don't want the side effects of high blood pressure. High blood pressure can damage the kidneys more, it can damage the heart, it can damage the eyes. That's a not good situation either. So we definitely want to monitor for that and almost expect that as a side effect of anemia. But again, if we can manage both, the cat's feeling great, then it's a win-win for all. As I mentioned earlier, there's not really a universally agreed upon standard when to start these injections, although less than 20% on the PCV or the hematocrit is pretty typical, but depending on how the patient is doing, it may be started earlier, it may be started later, depending on when blood work is done as well. There is a newer player to the anemia treatment arena, if you will, and that is something called Varenzin-CA1. This is a liquid, so no injections needed, although they do still recommend using iron with it, so there'll be less injections, let's say that. But it's a liquid that's given at home. And this works in a different way in that it actually stimulates the body to produce the hormone to signal the bone marrow to produce the red blood cells. So now we're not giving any fake analogs or fake hormones. We're actually telling the body, okay, here is a liquid, now this is what you should do secondary to it. It's very promising. It's under conditional license at the time of this video in the United States, and it seems like it will hopefully be a better longer-term option because the injections aren't needed, because there isn't the side effects of potential antibody formation, and because it's a liquid that can be given at home. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more aggressive in our treatment of anemia. So that means the cats feel better, do better, live longer, all of those things that we're looking for. Like anything that we use to treat, there's pros to it and there's cons to it. So as far as known side effects listed are vomiting, which honestly comes with anything. I don't know how we can't list vomiting as a side effect in cats. I mean, they're cats. So vomiting is a side effect that was listed. High blood pressure or hypertension is listed. Makes sense since we already know that with the ESAs. And then another potential side effect is clot formation. This one isn't surprising to me, albeit very dramatic side effect, because we know that cats that are anemic have a higher risk of blood clot formation anyway. So is this a product of the actual Varenzin itself, or is this a product of the anemia? I don't know that they have pulled that apart yet, but do realize that is a risk factor to this. And as I had mentioned earlier, it is recommended by the internal medicine specialist that we are using iron when we are treating these cats with the Varenzin. Now, I also mentioned earlier that there are many causes and contributing factors to anemia in cats. Even in CKD cats, where we know we have this specific disease that is affecting these cells, that is affecting this hormone, we can follow the pathway, it all makes sense. Even some of these CKD cats have multiple problems going on. As I mentioned, some of them have nutritional deficiencies that we have to correct. Sometimes the cells are more fragile because of the uremic state. So when we start treating these cats for their anemia, if they respond, fantastic. We probably only have that single source or cause of anemia. But some cats, despite our best effort and despite these treatments, won't respond. And unfortunately, that tends to mean those cats have a poorer prognosis, meaning their CKD is probably far more advanced. We have multiple disease processes going on. And if we can't improve their quality of life, we really have to start asking that question of when is it the best time to let them go. Now, that's not something that we want to do or we have to face, but the reality is at some point, it's usually a decision we have to face with these CKD cats. The presence of more than one problem also highlights the fact that, again, we should be using iron, we should be treating the anemia, we should make sure there aren't any nutritional deficiencies. All of those things need to be accounted for and treated and move forward from there. Another consideration in CKD and anemia is potentially the phosphate binder that we're using. There is a thought that in enough quantities or used over enough time, aluminum can build up in the system and affect anemia. So for some of these cats, we may also want to look for a different phosphate binder when we're treating them. The good news is for the cats who respond to treatment, they feel better, they're more social, oftentimes their appetite improves, they just have that better quality of life that we're looking for. So if you don't know if your cat is anemic, the first place to start is to get that answer. If they are, the degree of anemia dictates treatment typically. Have that conversation with your veterinarian and be aware that there are old treatment options, there are new treatment options, but there are things that we can do and they're promising. Let me know below if your cat's anemic and if you have experience with these treatments and how it's going. I'd love to hear your story.